So I felt really proud walking out of his office and not crying and like having some self confidence.
Yeah, man, it always feels good.
So
yeah, I remember I was there for that one. You did. It was great. I was
Yeah.
like, nice job, dude.
Yeah. I had a meeting with our manager about an interview I did
An interview you did
here at the station.
What do you mean an interview you did?
That I did in the past with that artist. It was my first interview with the station.
Oh, that kind of. I thought you meant like a job interview.
No.
No, yeah,
That interview. Because the last couple times I've been in, we have these individual focus meetings, and it's time to vent, prep, whatever you guys want to do. And the last couple times I've been in there, I just went in crying, just like pissed. So finally I was like, oh, I got a big interview coming in 2 weeks. I want to go over this interview with him and see what his thoughts are, if there's any notes.
Who was it, Tate Tucker?
Tate Tucker.
Yeah, that was
a good dude.
You did good. I remember that one. I was there for it.
And but he's a different guy. He's been in the industry for almost 30 years. So I was like, I want his perspective.
I can't wait until you get, because Tate Tucker, he was a good interviewer. Like he was bouncing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait until you get like a Lil Mosey. Like, did you watch my Lil Mosey interview?
No, I haven't.
Bro,
he told me it was bad.
I was like, come on, dude, give me something. He was just like,
he's like, before I start this, like, I'm going to give you criticism and all that. He's like, you're going to have some great ones and you're going to have some bad ones. Let's see how this one went. I was like, he's like, because I was talking to Clay and he was like super hyped. He had a couple good interviews. And then I told him there's going to be a dud sooner or later. And I was like, Lil Mosey. He's like, and Lil Mosey happened.
Dude, there was nothing I could do.
Yeah. Anyway, so we started it and instantly, like 5 seconds in, he's like, too much fluff. I was like, damn, really? I was just like,
fluff.
Because I was like, hey, man, how you doing? Like, you brought the good weather with you. And he's like, don't make it time sensitive. If someone's watching in November, it doesn't make sense. I'm like,
oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But all interviews are past tense. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but still.
Anyways. And clearly on YouTube, there's a date when it was uploaded. So you know what time it was shot. And then he like kept going. And then he gave me some more advice. And then he paused it about 35, 40 seconds in. He was like, give me some more advice. And he pressed play again. And then he just let the whole thing roll. And he ended it. He's like, that was impressive. He's like, those are my only 2 things. Like, you did an amazing job. Was that your first one? I was like, yeah, that was. He's like, I wouldn't have guessed. I was like, dope.
Makes you feel good.
He's like, for a relatively unknown artist, like, you did a lot of research and it shows.
Yeah.
And I was like, dope, that's cool. So I felt really proud walking out of his office and not crying and like having some self confidence.
Yeah, man, it always feels good.
So
yeah, I remember I was there for that one. You did. It was great. I was like, nice job, dude.
Yeah.
But see, we have interviews in here all the time. Like, it's different interviewing because like when we have someone sitting in with us here, this feels like home court. It's like you're in our house, so you feel more comfortable, right? But like whenever you like, it's crazy just how much like just changing a room or changing the setting or changing to where you're like, okay, this isn't my home, and I feel, you know what I mean? You're trying to put on you kind of, it's hard to be yourself if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also, I guess, the expectation of, like when we had Paul Wall in here, go check out that interview. It was really good.
Yeah, we'll put a link right here.
Yeah. But Paul Wall, like his label wasn't here. It was just him and like 2 friends.
But he was dope.
But
like,
first of all, he's a vet.
Person.
He's a veteran.
So he gets it.
And secondly, like, there was no expectation from his label, like, oh, we need to hit this or this or this.
Yeah,
or,
he wasn't like pushing anything.
Like, hey, don't mention this or don't mention that. Like, he knows not to mention anything he doesn't want to mention. But when you got a newer artist who's 27 and they're there with XYZ label, I don't know, and it's my first interview, and there's hard to get information, like the stuff I brought up. Like, I spent a week interviewing this kid who's been around for 3 years, like, and so I don't know where I was going, but it's just there's expectations when you're down in that room with the label versus like when we're, like you said, when we're here and we've done our own research, and there's no expectation when Paul Wall comes in or even Young Gravy. Go watch that interview also. That one was great.
That one was good.
I think that's our highest viewed video
Dude,
too.
barely. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up our
But
videos real quick.
That was a
because
great interview on Gravy.
That was a great interview.
That was a great interview.
But see, both of those
Again,
people,
relatively unknown, but like we did research.
He's got one of those like underground followers.
Yeah.
Dude.
But in the mainstream, he's unknown. But yeah, so I was really proud walking out of his office, and he was just like, dude. I was like, I got this artist in 2 weeks, and he's like, oh, that's a big one. I was like, yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to like go over this with you.
Who is it?
Mijo. He's a rapper.
Mijo.
He has a pretty big song from 2009 that if I played for you, you'd be like, oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, huge song.
Mijo. What's the song?
All of the above.
All of the lights. Okay, so our best performing video, dude. Young Gravy got passed.
By herpes?
No. World Naked Bike Ride.
Oh, that one too, yeah.
Dude, that's high perform. So I'm super interested in this because obviously Young Gravy has the underground following, so people are going to share that, and he even shared it himself. So that makes sense. That one has a lot of views. But the World Naked Bike Ride, people are like really interested in that, or did we just tag it right on the back end to where whenever people Google that, that's like the first thing that pops up?
Maybe.
Same thing with the Coachella's herpes outbreak, which turned out to be false, and we did not take a claim. We had people like, oh, you're spreading false, you're doing fake news.
We just read what somebody else reported.
Like, no, first off, did you click on the video, or did you just read the dope ass cover art and not listen? Because in the video I said, this sounds made up.
Yeah.
So anyway, side tangent. And then we have the Harlan Williams one, and then Paul Wall.
Paul Wall was great.
And then
I was really proud of that one.
The Norineko.
Nice.
Yeah. If you want to see what we're talking about, you can check out our YouTube. Type in TSITR. Those are all individual letters. TSITR and then podcast.
Yeah.
And you can give us some views on that.
But yeah, Mijo. And dude, like,
how do you spell that? Mijo?
Maino. He spent 10 years in jail.
Oh shit! For what?
I think
the song's called "All the Above."
Uh huh.
All right, I'm gonna play like 2 seconds of this and see if I
go to like the middle.
The middle.
Or like 45 seconds in.
45. You know it like that, huh? Yeah, I've heard
that. Yeah. So it's a great
dude, but that kind of does sound like
that's T-Pain. So T-Pain's on it.
No, I'm talking about the beat, like that same like that had the kind of that Kanye thing.
But he's just a little bit more like he's a New York guy. He's a little bit more rough, whereas like Tate Tucker's on the West Coast, like Cali boy.
Right.
So it's like different energy,
vibes,
different energy, and so I need to be prepared for that, like New York, energy that's going to be coming in the room. You know,
you still got to be yourself, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, changing energy and like being aware of any ticks he might have or like gives that like don't go that way, you know, because he got interviewed by some other big radio stations and they have relationships with him for like 20 years. It's like I don't get to say the things they get to say because I don't have that relationship with him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, felt good walking out of his office again, out of my boss's office and getting that little boost. He's like, that was really good, man.
Good. So, I'm glad you feel. Yeah, you did a great job. I'm glad you feel good about it.
So I guess that was a highlight of my week.